Stugotz here for 1-800-Flowers. Being a mom is like 1,000 little jobs all wrapped into one amazing responsibility. I know this from watching my own wife, how crazy it is, switching back and forth from trauma nurse to afternoon mathematician, from organizer-in-chief to five-star chef. This Mother's Day, show her how much you appreciate every job she does with this special limited-time offer from 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, when you get ahead of the Mother's Day rush, 1-800-Flowers will give you an exclusive 36 for 36 offer, 36 sorbet roses for just $36. That's only $1 per rose. With an impressive mix of pastel shades in pink, orange, and lavender, these roses are guaranteed to make her smile. Stunning sorbet roses are the perfect way to surprise all the moms in your life. Wife, aunt, sister, mother. These breathtaking roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. 36 sorbet roses for only $36 is an amazing offer, but you need to hurry because it expires Friday. Just pick your delivery date and 1-800-Flowers will handle the rest. Don't put this off, guys. I'm telling you, order today from 1-800-Flowers.com. It's what mom would want you to do. To order 36 sorbet roses for only $36, simple. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code Dan. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code Dan. Hurry. Offer ends on Friday.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Carl Tart.
I'm Jackie's Neal.
And I'm Edgar Mopes here.
And we are the host of a new show called Culture Kings on How Stuff Works. We cover a whole range of topics on this show, but one of the things that we talk about the most is sports because we love them. Jackie, what's the sports opinion you have?
The Cubs are the best team of all time.
That's ridiculous. Edgar?
Kevin Durant is the greatest player of all time.
Nonsense. My favorite basketball player is LeBron James. He's the king of the world, and we'll get into that on Culture Kings. Download it wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere. Just listen to it, damn it.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
All right, I've got an alert by text here, Mike. Someone is writing in via text. Fire, Will Kane fire take on social media. Fire, get it immediately, please. We want these alerts when Will Kane has fire takes. We want to get those alerts. We want to get to a number of different things. Stugotz has something for his idols. Chris Mad Dog Russo and Mike Francesa. I've got something for Bill Cosby, Tom Brokaw, and Ryan Shazier, or the spectacle around Ryan Shazier that was deeply uncomfortable to me yesterday. But before we do that, we got to go to Stat of the Day because we got a good one for you.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
Yesterday, Jeff Bezos made $12 billion.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Are you scared of everything Bezos is doing? Because I've gone from admiring him. He went from bookworm to leather jacket wearing assassin fighter pilot. And now he made $12 billion yesterday.
Yep. Yesterday. From the hours that he woke up until about 4:34 Eastern time, Jeff Bezos made $12 billion.
All right. I don't know what even to say to that. It's just, okay, is that going to keep happening? Because is he going to have all of it? Like,
is this his per diem now?
$12 billion.
$12 billion in a day. Like even Warren Buffett would be scared of that. No? And he's got Berkshire Hathaway. All right. So let's get back to Roger Goodell last night. He tried, man. He tried. Roger Goodell is the guy on Twitter pointing to his temple. I'm smart. He comes out with 3 Cowboy legends. Roger Staubach, Troy Aikman. He's flanked like a SWAT team.
Yes.
Like he's flanked on every side. Troy Aikman's the first one in with the battering ram. And it's Roger Staubach in the back and Jason Witten. So I got yesterday, I got today, I got War Hero. And as an added bonus, guys, can you come out flipping footballs? Just, like just throwing it around.
Yeah.
And this is what that sounded like as the spectacle. Roger Goodell, showman, comes out yesterday surrounded by the SWAT team Cowboy legends.
Let's go to Roger Goodell to get this party started.
Welcome, football fans, to the 2018 NFL Draft, Texas style. I can't believe you guys are booing the Cowboys. Come on.
That is a great line by Goodell.
Now, wait, though.
That's the funniest Goodell's ever been.
All right, hold on a second. Hold on. Yes, that's funny. But you were talking during the break, and I don't know. I didn't see this part of it. I don't like the draft. I only like to laugh at the draft.
You were also watching the wrong channel.
Well, for 5 minutes, I was watching ESPN2, which isn't the wrong channel. I don't know why you would do that to our corporate overlord.
You thought you were watching the main
It's not the
draft
wrong.
coverage.
Why is ESPN2 the wrong channel? Put it on the poll, Guillermo.
Right.
Should Mike be saying that ESPN2 is the wrong channel?
But all these years where you haven't watched the draft, you thought to yourself, if you were watching, the guy you would be watching is Booger McFarland?
No, what happened there? First of all,
not fair to Booger.
Not fair to Booger.
Love you, Booger.
All right, so you guys, this is a real good way to get in trouble here.
Yeah.
Do you know these people enough?
Oh, yeah. Booger and I?
Yeah.
Way back.
Yeah, very tight with Booger.
So I didn't see this part of it, but what Stugotz was saying that was making me laugh, and perhaps it shouldn't have been, but we can be indelicate this way, or I can be anyway. So Stugotz, now keep in mind, I am telling you this. I didn't see it, so I might be heading into some mistakes here. I didn't see it. I don't know what Stugotz is talking about, but he says there was only one time last night where Roger Goodell was not booed when he came out. The legends coming out didn't do it.
Yeah, it was a St. Jude's kid in a wheelchair who made a pick for one of the teams. No boos.
He upped the ante.
He did.
And you got to boo the wheelchair. You got to boo it all. You got to boo it. You got to stay consistent. You got to be consistent in that spot. I understand. Look, man, I am uninformed. I don't know the sickness involved. Be consistent. Goodell gets your boos on draft day, and he can't win because he left there. Did he push the wheelchair out because he felt victorious? See, I did it. I tried it with the legends from Dallas. It didn't work. I got him. I win draft day, covered by all the networks. I gave the vigorous hug to Lamar Jackson, and I whispered in his ear, don't do what Kaepernick did. Like hit him on the back. I did like a wrestling heel in the working an opponent in the corner. Just squeezed him real hard and whispered to him, no Kaepernick, okay? No, don't do the Kaepernick. That gold chest chain that's pressing up against my chest, lose that too while you're at it. No, that's not what he said?
No. He's so good at the hug, though, man. I'm telling you, Goodell never misses a hug. He's great at it.
Not enough credit is given to Roger Goodell because there's ample opportunity to look really awkward. He's had countless handshakes and hugs on that stage.
Oh, he's gotten good at it. He's got 10,000 hours. He's got Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours of hugs, so he's an expert at it. Guillermo, put on the poll. Does Goodell show any competence as good as his hugging competence? Because, that he's perfected. That, he's trying to apply those 10,000 hours to domestic abuse causes, but you're going to have to give him time. Not much, though. Not much. So, what do you got for Russo? Your idol?
Yeah.
Chris Mad Dog Russo, who is now Francesa and Russo. Man, I've told you guys, this is the most insecure business I've ever seen in my life. Any walk of life. Any athlete comes, I'm not even talking about ESPN, though that too. Any athlete walks into ESPN, they come from locker rooms, they're sort of amazed by the insecurity and the vanity of television people and television things. This happens all the time. But radio's the worst of it. The worst of it. And so the stars of this medium, they invented the medium.
They did.
Mad Dog Russo, they don't want, and Francesa, they don't want anyone else to get the platform, man. They don't want to share with anybody. Francesa retired to much fanfare, 18-month farewell, long past due because he was falling asleep at the microphone literally falling asleep at the microphone, then getting mad at his producer when his producer woke him up.
He took an 18-month victory tour and then decided 3 months later to come back.
Right. And now what's crazy. Russo doing? Now listen to Russo as the overlord here of sportscastbaggery when he's the worst of them.
I didn't know sports radio had a commissioner. Apparently it's Chris Russo. What he did, and listen, this is hard for me because I idolize both these guys guys growing up. I really, really did. I love Chris Russo. I set out wanting to be Chris Russo and then realized mocking Chris Russo would be much better for my career. But this is interesting because now Chris Russo, listen, the whole thing started with Mike and Chris on the MLB Network. And for those of you who don't know, Mike Francesa is coming back to WFAN next week after taking off for 3 months. He retired for an entire 3 months.
It's ugly how insecure these people are.
And I think part of the reason that Francesa did it was because he was not happy with what replaced him and because the person who did replace him sent him a nasty text. That's how petty this is. Okay?
No, but he's been an ego monster for decades, man. Like he believes all his own bull bleep and has for decades.
But here's the problem, man. The guy who took over their show is a producer. He is their former producer who worked many, many years, was very loyal to them, didn't make a lot of money, helped them build that show into the biggest sports radio show in America, and that kid took over the show, and all they've done since is mock that kid and given that kid no chance whatsoever. Bart Scott is one of the co-hosts. Chris Russo yesterday said on his show that Bart Scott has no place anywhere on radio. Anywhere on radio.
Read the quote.
Listen, it's absurd. First off, Chris, you decided to leave Mike because you didn't like Mike. And Mike, you decided to walk away and retire. And all you guys have done is sabotaged everything that station has done since both of you have left. It's absurd. Get over it and get over yourselves. Like, give people a chance to succeed, man.
Stugotz is a radioactive kind of red. Mike, lighten it up around here.
Man.
Here is Stugotz's only appearance in the 30 for 30. Mike and the Mad Dog.
They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
I mean, listen, Bart Scott doesn't belong anywhere on radio. Who says? Chris Russo? Who cares what you have to say? And I agree with Bart Scott.
Who cares? We love everything Chris Russo has to say, especially when he's hyperventilating.
Yeah.
They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
But not on this, Dan. I care what Chris Russo has to say, but not on this. Leave Bart Scott alone. Leave Chris Carlin alone. Chris, you decided to leave WFAN, and every time, the only time you make news is when you talk about WFAN, and I'm telling you, every time you do it, it makes you look terrible. It just makes you look awful. It makes you look like you wish you never left. You did. Sorry.
You're not sorry.
You know what? Bart Scott on the radio, don't leave the radio station. Mike, you know what? Chris Carlin on the radio station, then don't leave the radio station.
All right.
Both of you, zip it up.
Okay, you're way too angry.
Dan, no, this is listen, you know how much I love radio, and you know that I've done every job in radio.
You're not the gatekeeper for radio either.
I'm not saying that I am, but I don't anyone who has an opportunity. Who is Chris Russo to say someone doesn't belong on the radio?
Who are you or who am I to say anything?
But I'm not sitting here saying someone doesn't belong on the radio. If you get an opportunity, God bless you, good luck, and run with it. Have fun. Bart Scott doesn't belong on radio? Hey, get out of here.
It's really odd that you're so fired up about this.
He's insanely angry.
This is why I'm angry. Okay. This is really the core of it. Okay. They decided to leave. Okay. Both of them. Chris decided to leave. Mike, you didn't like Mike. I don't care what Chris says.
You covered this terrain already.
And then Mike decided to leave, okay? Here's the problem. Mike Ryan, if Dan and I decided to leave and you took over the show, we would not sabotage you. And that's my problem. They have sabotaged this poor kid, Chris Carlin, and his entire show.
I wouldn't. Mike, I wouldn't.
I know Dan wouldn't. That's a fraud.
ESPN Radio is presented by... What happened there?
You would absolutely sabotage poor Mike. And I'm pretty sure you're so fired up about this because you just wanted that gig.
I didn't want the gig. I didn't want the gig. If I had the gig, this would never happen. I can tell you that.
I think you thought it was probably easier to replace a replacement than replace Mike Francesa.
I'm just saying.
You were also rooting against a fill-in.
I don't want the gig. All I'm saying here, okay? By the way, say it to Bart Scott's face. Go ahead. Say it to his face. Say it to his face. Say it to anybody.
Honestly, his quote said that he was actually going to say it to Bart Scott's face.
I'll believe it when I see it. Listen, here's what I'm telling you. I don't want the job, okay? But I'm telling you. I'm telling you if I had the job.
You're a liar.
If I had the job, there's no way Mike's coming back. That's all I can tell you.
Run!
That's all I can tell you.
Run!
That's on,
totally sabotage me.
Anyway, ESPN, I would.
mean, Mike.
Chicken may have revealed his identity there.
Next. You're holding up the line, ma'am.
What did you say?
You're next in line for the water slide, ma'am. Feet forward and enjoy the ride.
Okay, dearie. This does look fun. Whee! Oh, you melted me. I've melted. God!
The Wicked Witch of the West on a water slide? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
See what you've done! Oh!
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Don Le Batard.
They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
Stugotz.
They're talking sandwiches, going at it as hard as they can.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Roy, would you be kind enough, please, to get me that story on Marvin Harrison carrying a baseball bat and having a conversation?
Marvin Harrison.
Oh, you be careful. Yeah. I saw a video of just a floating bat in the air.
Well, this is the thing about this person that shall henceforth remain unnamed. Very quietly, literally very quietly, Marvin Harrison, as Bomani calls him, or I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
That's a fine.
Marvin, that is a fine, yeah. $5 maximum fine. Maybe more. Because,
Marvin Harrison.
Time will tell exactly how harsh that fine shall be.
Yeah. Harvin Marison, we're going to call him for the purposes of this discussion because everyone's a little scared of him. This is a real live thing that happened in the NFL, if you're not familiar with it. There was a guy who played for the Colts that we always said was really, really quiet, and he was professional, and he was really the top of the profession when it came to meticulous discipline. He was Peyton Manning's best and favorite receiver. And also, he appeared to be in the shadows very quietly, maybe kind of allegedly doing things that were really awful.
Keep in mind, at the time, as you mentioned, T.O. was the scandal, and everyone pointed to Harvin Marison and said, you be like that.
That's right. Be more like Harvin Marison. He's a quiet professional. But now go read about Harvin Marison and do so at your own peril. And don't tell anybody about what you've read, including this baseball bat story.
Clear your browser history.
Yeah. So I'm now scared. I'm now officially scared that I've said too much.
Yeah.
This is the place that I am.
Oh, you have. You have.
All right. Well, let me move on to lighter matters then. Many of you are celebrating the draft last night, and you want to talk about the draft, and we will get you your serious football coverage, but not before first doing some important social commentary.
Okay.
Important social commentary. So Ryan Shazier last night, from what I'm told and from what I've read, this was a celebration. Football was celebrating that Ryan Shazier can walk again. I'm going to say that sentence again. Football is celebrating that Ryan Shazier can walk again. And I don't know about you guys, but when I watched that, I was deeply uncomfortable with him being used as a piece of propaganda and him being used as a piece of propaganda that doesn't actually help the image of your league as you're drafting fresh new bodies to throw into the maw of this money-making monster. You're bringing before them the risk. And you're saying, look how great it is. He can walk. Look how great it is that this guy, a hero we're applauding right now, is able to get on his own feet as a world's best kind of athlete and take a step. That's what we're celebrating on all of these networks here, that risk, on all of these networks that broadcast all these fresh new bodies that are being thrown into the machine. And they actually thought it was a good idea to trot out in front of us a guy who we haven't been sure how dark his days have been because he's been in the hospital and he's been sick. And the pictures there are of him, it appears that Ben Roethlisberger is holding him up.
Right.
It has not been clear that he could take those steps. None of us knew how badly he was hurt, but there's an ambulance on the field and a prayer circle around this guy when he leaves. And then he goes into the darkness away from the TV lights and he vanishes until they prop him back up and bring him out now to celebrate more bodies being thrown into the violence. Now, I understand many of you are saying they're getting paid millions and millions of dollars, but I ask you, how many millions do I have to give you for you to be someone who will risk paralysis and celebrate something that they trot Shazier out there to celebrate that's just, I just couldn't believe what I was watching.
In fairness, there have been some updates along the way on Ryan Shazier. There have been, but, and you've seen him publicly at places, okay? But Dan, what if he's in on that decision? What if Ryan Shazier wants to walk out on that stage?
Look, this is not about Ryan Shazier. I'm not talking about Ryan Shazier. I'm talking about the risk that we're celebrating last night. Who the hell could blast Ryan Shazier? He can do whatever he wants on draft day.
No, but blasting the NFL. What if the NFL, Ryan Shazier has a decision there, doesn't he?
I'm not blasting the NFL. I'm looking at something that made me deeply squeamish yesterday because of the moral conundrum that this league is, that it's human cockfighting with the athletes bigger, stronger than ever, and our court system filled with, concussions and death and settlements. It's an uneasy tension that the sport keeps getting bigger and bigger, literally, becomes a bigger and bigger bank, is on all the networks running everything last night just to celebrate a nonsense day.
It was really difficult for me as someone who enjoys that day more than any other day on the sports calendar to be confronted with that sort of reality. I wasn't ready for it.
It was weird
at all, and it really sort of bummed me out because maybe I'm naive. I followed the updates. I just had no idea. I was stunned at how bad it actually was, and kudos to him. This isn't about Shazier. It's about that juxtaposition. I wasn't prepared to feel that emotion.
And you felt bad about it, huh?
Awkward transition. Time for some ads.
I gotta be honest, I didn't think too much about it. I'm not saying you guys are wrong. I didn't think too much about it. I thought, wow, what a great story.
Oh, most people.
I did.
Yeah, but what's the great story? A great athlete may never be able to play football again and can walk. That's the great story.
Well, yeah, but I remember how badly I felt, when he was laying out on the field. And I remember last night thinking, wow, okay, Ryan Shazier is getting better. Dan, I realize.
I get it. But also, thank you, football, for allowing us to feel better yesterday, as Ryan Shazier will now need help walking away from the lights, and maybe he doesn't feel so much better because he's been in the dark for a while, and he heads back to the dark to figure out if he could ever play football again because of spine problem.
The emotion I felt was, I remember not too long ago, him walking out on that stage as a rookie getting drafted, holding up the jersey, and to see that over the course of a couple of years and what the sport did to him made me feel sad.
Don Le Batard.
You want to make something smart really dumb? I give you Stugotz.
Stugotz.
You love sandwiches, huh?
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Get the feeling of being rewarded with gold status at Shell with the Fuel Rewards program. Download the Fuel Rewards app. Join and start saving 5 cents a gallon today. Here's your SportsCenter update. NFL Draft. Baker Mayfield goes number 1 to the Browns, and Denzel Ward at number 4. Saquon Barkley goes number 2 to the Giants. Sam Darnold goes number 3 to the Jets. The Cardinals traded up to number 10 to get Josh Rosen. The Buccaneers traded up to number 12 to get Double V.
Nope.
No, you say it. No.
Tavita, Tuliakiono, Tupelono, Mosesi, Vahe, Fihoko, Falatu, Villa. Nailed it. To shore up their defensive line while Lamar Jackson gets drafted number 32 by the Ravens. And finally, Swedish DJ, Avicii. Why am I saying that? Like he's Italian. Died unexpectedly on April 20th at the age of 28. A new statement from his family suggests that the musician sadly took his own life. The statement reads, quote, when he stopped touring, he wanted to find balance in life to be happy and to be able to do what he loved most, music. He really struggled with thoughts about meaning, life, happiness. He could not go on any longer. He wanted to find peace. Being a mom is like 1,000 little jobs all wrapped up into one. This Mother's Day, show her your appreciation with 36 sorbet roses for $36 from 1-800-Flowers.com. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code DAN. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
It feels to me like what I'm about to describe socially, these things I'm about to describe, it feels to me like they've happened very fast. Perhaps they have not happened that fast, but the idea, Tom Brokaw is now in trouble, 2 accusers on sexual harassment. The idea that the network TV newsman in my lifetime and his credibility has evaporated is weird to me. The idea that Dan Rather and all these guys, maybe you do it with Anderson Cooper, maybe you get your news wherever you do, but seeing that happen, seeing the Brokaws and the Brian Williamses and the Dan Rather, see them all disgraced in some way at the end is odd. But not as odd as what I'm about to say, which is, I thought it was odd that I actually saw Ozzy Osbourne go from Satanist that was the most dangerous thing in America evil in music to sitcom dad. So I thought that I couldn't believe that I saw Ozzy Osbourne go from evil perception, scares the children, tears the heads off of bats with his mouth, snorts lines of ants on the way to the bus in a way that scares Motley Crue. Like, snorts a line of ants. An ant, and do you know how hard, Guillermo, put it on the poll. Do you know how hard it is to scare Motley Crue with your drug use? So he goes from that to sitcom dad on MTV. MTV makes him the doddering grandpa. But I just saw the sitcom dad of my childhood jailed at the end of his life for how long is it going to be? Bill Cosby in jail at 80. Bill Cosby dying in jail. Jailed by Hannibal Buress. We've forgotten women so thoroughly that it took Hannibal Buress to remind us, hey, perhaps we should try a rapist, excuse me.
It's a fun.
Yeah, an unfortunate one.
Yeah.
Time now for Guillermo's useless sound montage on the NFL draft. How do you feel about this, Guillermo?
I was a little rusty. I kind of missed it when I was doing it, and then once the process was over, I don't miss it.
How many hours did you spend in this dungeon hearing to this, all of this, listening to, really, you're taking interviews with useless sound, right? You're like ZipRecruiter. Useless sound comes and interviews with you, and then you decide whether it gets in the useless sound montage.
Yes, I don't really
all right,
understand.
$2. Go ahead and play it.
Oh. $2 for you,
There is no better pro to learn from than Josh McCown.
Two things stand out to me about Sam Darnold. First of all, he's a magician.
I want to be a team that plays New York, hard-nosed, tough-style football.
What's in his soul? What's in his heart? Who is he really? What is he really all about?
Saquon Barkley was tailor-made for this football team.
If you're going to play in Buffalo, you've got to have a big arm. And make no mistake about it, this guy's arm, this isn't just like, oh, wow, he's got a really good arm. Yeah. This is stuff that you don't see, for 10 years. I mean, he has got an absolute cannon.
Talk is cheap. This isn't a talking man's league. This is a producing man's league.
He's a winner. He's worked for everything he's gotten to this point in his career.
Stop talking. Let's get to work now. Let's just get to work.
You want a baseball analogy? He's Randy Johnson. You need to build it inside out, front to back.
And he really fights for every yard and tries to win every play.
That's his DNA.
This kid makes our quarterback better.
This is a kid that hustles.
He makes our wide receivers better.
Winning in college was a little overrated.
He makes our O-line better.
Got in some bad habits, pulled the ball out like a loaf of bread.
He makes our defense better.
Whatever happens, happens. And it happens for a reason.
He was touched by the hand of God. It was a Dave Gettleman quote today.
Gettleman, man. Sound of the day is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Upgrade to shaving with a fresh blade whenever you want for a fraction of the price. Join DollarShaveClub.com today.
Splash!
I'm sorry we did that to you, Guillermo. I'm sorry we made you go through all of that sound. Gettleman.
It's a great breakdown by Hasselback on Josh Allen. It really was.
He's just got a giant arm.
Giant arm, and you need that in Buffalo where it's cold and windy.
Right, yeah. It's not normal. It's not a normal giant arm. It's the most giant of giant arm.
Don Le Batard.
You're just allowed to give me one word on what you think. I tell you, American flag, you give me one word on what you think. Go ahead, Chris. You're only allowed one word.
Freedom.
That's what I was going to go with.
Stugotz.
Guillermo.
Bald Eagles.
What?
2 words.
Well,
I mean, God, $2.
That's a fine.
$2. I mean,
That's a fine.
Do you realize how hard it is to be that bad with 2 words, man?
Apple pie.
I got 2 words for you.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Tim Kurkjian going to join us in about 15 minutes on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Get in touch with the show anytime to the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed at Le Batard Show at Stugotz790. This Mother's Day, show her your appreciation with 36 sorbet roses for just $36 from 1-800-Flowers.com. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN.
Mike, which is the better sound from among what we have here? Is it Mina Kimes freaking out during the Twitter Live podcast? She was oddly emotional about things. She cursed at one point, which is frowned upon here at the network.
Mina's a fan, though, man. Like, she really cares about this stuff.
She's got a Super Bowl tattoo on her bicep.
Yeah, this was like Seahawks related. I got to tell you, I did tune in to those guys on Twitter for a little bit. It was really fun. Dominique, Jason Fitz, I believe, Field Yates, and Mina Kimes. And it's really cool to be able to watch it on Twitter. It was just fun and different and informative. Like, it was really well done.
Yeah, they're all very good. And so if you want some alternative programming, Mina Kimes, is this the funny sound here? Why was she cursing? Because the Seahawks did something she didn't want them to do? Is that why she was cursing? Why is Mina Kimes, as a representative of this great company, Disney, why is she cursing on the internet? Don't do that, rookie.
So, Field, you were saying the Seahawks get what?
Green Bay gets 18.
Yes.
They gave Seattle 27, 76, and 186.
Love it.
Oh, yes, we love it so much. And scene.
Love it.
Did she forget that she's...
I mean, she curses on our show, so...
So Josh Allen was drafted. Josh Allen, if you saw what happened there, Josh Allen is sort of so amazing to me for a lot of different reasons. If you built a quarterback in a lab, it would look like Josh Allen.
Oh, man.
But
we should probably build up to Josh Allen because that was the one that she was most hyped for. So let's go Saquon first. We want to give the people a nice little slow burn.
Okay, that's fine. Let's go ahead and give so Saquon Barkley was taken number 2. Gettleman loves it, says it'll make the offense, the defense better, make everybody better, special teams make him better, make New York better, make the culinary experience anywhere, dining in Times Square better.
Yeah, the pick is in. The Giants pick is in.
Darnold.
It has to be Darnold. I think they're going to go running back. I think Saquon goes off the board.
No,
I'm just saying.
They go Chubb or Darnold.
I'm just saying. The pick is in, by the way. The Giants are about to make their selection.
Man. It's got to be Darnold.
With the second pick in the 2018 draft. I'm doing my Roger Goodell.
Give it to him.
The New York Giants select Saquon Barkley, running back out of Penn State.
What is wrong with you?
I called it. I'm just saying.
Why? I love you. Saquon Barkley, fantastic. Maybe the best player in the draft, but why?
Okay. All right. I love that. Does Sam Darnold look like a Lego policeman?
Oh,
wow,
yes. That is fantastic.
That's
yes.
Tournament team.
Yes.
Write it down.
Number
Tournament
1 seed,
team.
right? I mean, man, that is good.
So far.
Oof.
Really?
Oh, it's great.
Oh, yeah. Proven tournament team.
Yeah.
All right, I'm stolen from a texter. I am not claiming that as my own. That a texter in the 561 sent that. I didn't know whether it was good or not. It's been a while since I played Legos. Give me the big Mina Kimes sound here. This is Mina Kimes reacting when Josh Allen was drafted. Keep in mind, again, on Josh Allen, this is so football because as I was saying, if you were to build a quarterback in a lab, it would look like Josh Allen. If you were to build a college quarterback who was terrible, it would look like Josh Allen. So this is very confounding. This is, that's a terrible college quarterback, and he's got all the skills except for that whole thing of throwing successfully. But giant arm.
Oh my God.
Giant arm.
Yes.
So Buffalo, all of a sudden, I've been told in the cold weather, you got to have a big arm.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I figured
cut through the wind. Man.
I know, but I figured having a big arm was always good. Like you didn't need it to. I didn't think Tyrod Taylor's problem in Buffalo was not a big enough arm. E.J. Manuel's problem in Buffalo wasn't not a big enough arm.
It was definitely a problem for Tyrod Taylor. There were certain games windy enough he couldn't get the ball downfield. I'll tell you, in Arizona you don't need a big arm, but in Buffalo you do.
Yeah, and why not get a big arm that rode that big arm all the way to All Mountain West honorable mention?
Yeah, Guillermo, put it on the poll. Do you need a big arm in Buffalo? That's all I'm going to ask you. Now give us the payoff. So, Buffalo traded up. They had to scamper up to get old big arm, big hands, Josh Allen, who, again, I remind you, terrible college quarterback. Wouldn't have wanted him on your team. Like, most schools wouldn't take him.
I would have picked Rosen over Mayfield and
I'm
Darnold.
a fan, man. He's a good okay, that's got to be Rosen reaction. That can't
Well,
be.
that's Josh Allen. Josh Allen.
Wow. Josh Allen.
No! What are you doing?
So let's remember.
That's incredible.
Mina's done for the day.
This is madness. I'm sorry. Like, someone has to speak for reason here. Somebody has to speak for logic and statistics. I know stats
Hear ye.
I come here defending statistics and logic and playing good in college. What?
This is nuts.
This is crazy.
It is. I don't. Awesome. When you people watch this draft and you hear all these people talking, don't you say to yourself, they don't know anything. Nobody knows anything. Wait a minute. So Josh Allen is good, even though every single time that I've never heard his name in college, I've thought to myself, this guy's not any good. And now everybody's telling me that it's like consensus. No. Big giant arm. And I'm like, but what about the whole thing about throwing the passes to people who catch them and they score points?
He didn't do that.
That he was not good at.
I think he had under 2,000 yards.
His arm is too big for a 5-yard intermediate route.
The arm is so big that the receivers are just getting knocked over, or is it injured? Is there a plague of injuries among receivers getting hit in the face by the big arm?
I don't know, but I will tell you this. His highlight package is the most impressive thing I've ever seen.
I fell in love with him, too. One deep ball, and I'm like, yeah, I'll take him. But, again, I expect these people who are actually giving the millions of dollars to know more than me about that stuff. I'd give it to him. Are you crazy? No, I wouldn't give it to him if it was my money. He was terrible.
Stugotz here for 1-800-Flowers. Being a mom is like 1,000 little jobs all wrapped into one amazing responsibility. I know this from watching my own wife, how crazy it is, switching back and forth from trauma nurse to afternoon mathematician, from organizer-in-chief to 5-star chef. This Mother's Day, show her how much you appreciate every job she does with this special limited-time offer from 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, when you get ahead of the Mother's Day rush, 1-800-Flowers will give you an exclusive 36 for 36 offer, 36 sorbet roses for just $36. That's only $1 per rose. With an impressive mix of pastel shades in pink, orange, and lavender, these roses are guaranteed to make her smile. Stunning sorbet roses are the perfect way to surprise all the moms in your life. Wife, aunt, sister, mother. These breathtaking roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. 36 sorbet roses for only $36 is an amazing offer, but you need to hurry because it expires Friday. Just pick your delivery date and 1-800-Flowers will handle the rest. Don't put this off, guys. I'm telling you, order today from 1-800-Flowers.com. It's what mom would want you to do. To order 36 sorbet roses for only $36, simple. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code Dan. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code Dan. Hurry. Offer ends on Friday.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Carl Tart.
I'm Jackie's Neal.
And I'm Edgar Mopes here.
And we are the host of a new show called Culture Kings on How Stuff Works. We cover a whole range of topics on this show, but one of the things that we talk about the most is sports because we love them. Jackie, what's the sports opinion you have?
The Cubs are the best team of all time.
That's ridiculous. Edgar?
Kevin Durant is the greatest player of all time.
Nonsense. My favorite basketball player is LeBron James. He's the king of the world, and we'll get into that on Culture Kings. Download it wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere. Just listen to it, damn it.
Every week during the baseball season, ESPN's premier baseball insider joins Dan and Stugotz to drop some hardball knowledge and take your calls.
Honey got me swishing like a dreadlock. She don't wrestle, but I got her in a headlock. Yabba dabba doo, make her bedrock.
Yeah! Here is Dan le Batard, Stugotz, and Tim Kurkjian on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance with more than 30 unique coverage options available. Progressive knows small business. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. Tim Kurkjian going to join us in just a second here on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. He takes your phone call 786-456-4837. Here's your SportsCenter update. Stanley Cup playoffs. The Penguins came back to beat the Capitals. You still believing in the Capitals there, Mike? Ovechkin.
Still their year.
Yeah. 0 for his career in the playoffs. And the Golden Knights routed the Sharks. So, team, the Jets-Predators series gets underway tonight. The Bruins-Lightning series starts tomorrow. And finally, ABBA is reuniting and will release new music for the first time in 35 years.
What?
Are you kidding me?
What?
That is amazing, man. 7 goals. Incredible. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
So Tim Kurkjian joins us now. He does every week, as he does every week. 786-456-4837 is the telephone number if you want to talk to Tim Kurkjian. Baseball questions, etiquette questions, whatever you got. Does Tim Kurkjian, does Danny Cannell look like the friend who belches, then blows the aroma in your face? Does Sam Darnold look like he was conceived at a frat house during rush week? Does Tom Thibodeau look like he sweats while taking a shower? That he does, right? That he does, for sure.
Isn't he the antacid guy?
No, is he? Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Tom Thibodeau is loosening his tie because his stomach is upset about something in the antacid commercial. That's correct. He's also, my father also says he looks like a butcher, which is not clever, but is true. Paul, you're on with Tim Kurkjian. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, Tom, for the first time in MLB history, there will be more strikeouts than hits this month. How big of a problem is that for the future of the game? Thanks.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about this. I have been for the last 5 years at least, and really for the last 30 years. It's just too much, guys. I love the game. I always will. But too many guys are swinging as hard as they can on every pitch. They are swinging the same on 3-0 as they do on 0-2, and even though the pitching today is ungodly great, and I don't know how anyone ever puts it in play, we have to have an adjustment from our hitters because there are just way too many strikeouts. We're going to have 10 guys strike out 40 times before we get to May. And I know it's a different time and it's a different era, but Tony Gwynn's strikeout high was 40. DiMaggio was 39. Yogi Berra was 38. And now we're going to have a dozen guys maybe strike out that many times before we get to May. It's too many, and that's one reason why the games last so long as we average 16.5 strikeouts per game.
Against Iowa, Josh Allen had 174 yards passing, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Mike, you're on with Tim Kurkjian. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, Tom. I want to know if the Phillies can keep this up, and more importantly, could Gabe Kapler win a Royal Rumble with all 30 MLB managers?
Oh, that's a good question.
Excellent.
That's a good question.
Yeah, Gabe Kapler would probably win. You know, he lifts weights. I think I'm even told he lifted with the players early in spring training, which I found unusual, but he's in phenomenal physical shape. Doug Rader would have killed him in a fight years ago, but not anymore. I would say, yes, he would win the Rumble, and yes, I think the Phillies are pretty good. Now, they're not going to win that division, but I think they're in the playoff hunt for a wild card because the additions they made with Jake Arrieta and others, they're better than most people thought, including me.
Josh Allen, Nebraska, 5 interceptions.
Chris, you're on with Tim Kurkjian. Go ahead, Chris.
Tom, how far do you think Giancarlo Stanton could drop down in the lineup this year?
I think the worst is over for him, and I don't see any benefit in dropping him to 7th or anything like that, no matter how poorly things go. But that lineup is going to be so long and so deep once everyone gets healthy, and they are close to it, that it's just going to be breathtaking to watch that team swing the bat. We're starting to see the early signs of it, but I just think Stanton's had his worst stretch, and he will be pretty much very good the rest of the way.
Josh Allen, Nevada, 145 yards.
Parker, you're on with Tim Kurkjian. Go ahead, Parker.
Hey, Jim, what would your wife say is the best thing that you cook for her?
Well, I stink at it, but I try. I can make chicken marsala pretty well now. I've tried it many times, really fouled it up the first 5 times. But I've got it now, and I think she will acknowledge that it's pretty good. And I won't say that about too many things I cook, because I repeat, I stink at it.
Josh Allen, Oregon, 9 completions, 24 attempts, 64 yards.
Do you agree, Tim Kurkjian, that Pau Gasol looks like a flightless bird? A flightless bird of some sort?
He was an ostrich a year ago, wasn't he?
Yes or no? Not an ostrich. Yes. Just all flightless birds look like Pau Gasol. Does John Harbaugh look like the cyclist who gets visibly upset with you as you drive past him, despite the fact that you're diligently obeying all traffic laws? Does Trey Wingo look like the red-faced soccer dad who charges the ref after a loss only to flop on the ground like a fish when accidentally bumped by a 6-year-old? Kevin, you're on with Tim Kurkjian. Go ahead, Kevin.
Hey, Mr. Kazakhstan, how you doing? I was wondering, who do you think would win at arm wrestling, Mike Trout or Aaron Judge?
Well, I'm not good at that. I don't think I've ever won one of those. I would say Trout would win because he's got shorter arms, and I think, knowing nothing about it, that's really important. Plus, he still weighs 235, and he's unbelievably strong. So I'll take Trout because he's got shorter arms.
Josh Allen, Hawaii, 92 yards.
Andrew, you're on with Tim Kurkjian. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yes, Tim, I wanted to ask you what your favorite minor league park was.
Well, I haven't been to many lately, I must say, but I did cover the Alexandria Dukes in 1978-79 in a place called 4 Mile Run Park. And one of my writer friends at the Washington Post just jokingly called it 3 Mile Island Park. Just kidding. And it got in the paper for one edition the next day. He was just messing around to see if the desk would catch it, and the desk didn't catch it once. So it went as 3 Mile Island Park, right at a very sensitive time. It was not funny, but 40 years later it was.
Well, okay, no, it's still not. But the idea, though, the idea, Tim, that you would be asked for your favorite minor league ballpark and it would conjure a story from 4 decades ago that involves that kind of disaster doesn't give off favorite.
All right. As I already said, I haven't been to very many minor league parks lately.
Brian, you're on with Tim Kurkjian. Go ahead, Brian.
Hey, Tim, I was wondering, I know you were in Puerto Rico recently for a 16-inning game. I was wondering, what's the longest game you've ever been a part of?
I covered a 19-inning game one year. I never got to 20. 16 was pretty long, 5.5 hours, 2-1 final, and promoted a interesting discussion on the air whether we should be going to a runner on second base in the 12th inning with nobody out. I'm still against that, but after that game, my Carl Ravitch was all over it. We can't do this anymore. 16 is excess innings. That's enough.
70 yards passing against the Air Force.
Craig, you're on with Tim Kurkjian. Go ahead, Craig.
Hey, Tom. What's the proper etiquette for replacing a toilet paper roll? Over the top or under the bottom? I'll hang up and listen.
I don't even pay attention. Either one works, but given a preference, I'll go over the top.
Thank you. Graham, you're on with Tim Kurkjian. Go ahead, Graham. All right. Andy, you're on with Tim Kurkjian. Go ahead, Andy.
Hey, Tom. My best friend is moving at the end of the month, and I need to give him and his wife a really good housewarming gift. Got any suggestions?
Again, I am a man. I'm really bad at these things. I for a kind of a wedding present, it wasn't a wedding present, it was a pre-wedding present. I bought one of those shop vacs for the guy, and God, I get yelled at for that. I thought it was a really practical choice to give people moving into a new house. I gave the guy a shop vac so he could clean up his garage, and I got yelled at.
32 yards against Eastern Michigan.
Lenny, you're on with Tim Kurkjian. Go ahead, Lenny.
Hey, Tom. Jung-Ho Kang, I hear, is allowed back in the United States. Will he be playing for the Pittsburgh Pirates this season?
At some point this season, that certainly is a possibility. I'm not sure, but I would guess yes. He's a pretty good player, and even though he's been through a lot all on his own, I think they will consider bringing him back if he remains their property.
North Dakota, big game, 19 yards.
Larry, you're on with Tim Kurkjian. Larry.
Hello, Tim. My question is, will Don Mattingly be fired mid-season or at the end of the season? Thank you.
I'm going to say neither. I saw them quite a bit this spring and on opening day, and I sensed, and maybe I'm the most naive guy ever, that he and Derek Jeter are on the same page. Mattingly is very much a developmental guy. He's very much a teacher, and privately and publicly he said he's, this is what he's in for, and I believe him. So I say he doesn't get fired during or after this season.
David, you're on with Tim Kurkjian. Go ahead, David.
If you had to choose between LeBron James and Josh Beckett, who would start at quarterback for the Dolphins?
Okay, so that's an interesting question. All right, so a baseball pitcher who's excellent or LeBron James, who would be in Tim Kurkjian's scouting prognosis a better quarterback for the Miami Dolphins?
Well, I would take the pitcher because he obviously has a throwing motion that somewhat resembles what a quarterback has to go through.
Tim.
So I will take Josh Beckett.
Tim, you're not allowed at this network to not pick LeBron James there. Like you are
obviously,
such a
I
dork.
would take LeBron James at any other position other than quarterback over a strong-armed major league pitcher.
All right, put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Le Batard Show. Who would you rather have as a quarterback, Josh Beckett or LeBron James? Tim Kurkjian, does Joel Embiid look like he snatched a French fry off your plate while you were getting a refill and then tried to act like nothing happened? Does Shane Battier look like an actor who played an astronaut husband in a Lifetime movie of the week?
I take both those guys over Josh Allen.
Does Anthony Davis look like the guy you see your ex-girlfriend out with that makes you realize that she is never getting back together with you? Does Adam Silver look like the well-meaning scientist in a movie who gets captured and forced to do nefarious experiments only to be killed later in the film by the abomination he helped to create while staring into the camera, saying, "What have we done?" just seconds before his death? Yeah.
I thought it was a bowling pin.
Look, I don't dance now.
Now he looks more like a bowling pin. All right, Adam, I thought he looked like a finger, but he looks like a bowling pin.
I love that he has these memorized.
Yeah, he does. He's got a list at home. He's got an actual big board, unlike that counterfeit Kuiper who got as many exactos as Cody yesterday.
You leave him alone. He was amazing last night. Seriously, man.
Everyone in the neighborhood knew about Bobby. Bobby, the basketball boy, they called him. Bobby wanted to go pro someday, so he was always out in the driveway shooting hoops. But one day, his mom came out and told him, "Hey, your wife wants you to take out the trash." His mom was visiting, and Bobby was a grown man. He had kind of missed his window. Plus, no one had ever seen him actually make a basket. But on the other hand, Bobby had heard how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. So it was all good.
Don Le Batard.
Give us as much as you can here. Take us up to the dramatic first pitch, Billy.
Jose Urena standing at the back of the mound. He reaches down. He's rubbing some dirt and rosin on his hands, and here we go.
Stugotz.
And the pitch. Oh, God, a home run on the first pitch of the game. Oh, my God.
Welcome, Derek Jeter. And that concludes our Marlins coverage for the season.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
I want to play some Josh Rosen sound for you. I love this quarterback. I want him to have great success. I was bummed that the Cardinals traded up in front of the Dolphins. I would have liked to have seen the next 10 years of Josh Rosen's career in Miami because, along with Jameis Winston, it's the best college freshman quarterback I've ever seen. And I know he didn't improve much after that, but I saw a professional poised talent from the moment that he took a snap, and I wanted to see it here. But now all the more because he says things like this. He is totally relaxed in front of the cameras and microphones in a way very few quarterbacks are. He had a hot tub in his dorm room in college, and he behaves like it. He is going, it feels like, he is smart, swaggering, dorky Joe Namath. This guy has a personality at the position.
Yes.
Baker Mayfield's is a totally different personality. To me, I marvel at an NFL that exists at the leadership position that tells me that Baker Mayfield is someone whose off-field stuff is somehow less dangerous than Josh Rosen being an independent thinker.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy I wanted as a Jet fan. I wanted that guy. I think part of the reason he's so relaxed, Dan, I don't know how much you know about his family. There is so much money there. His great-grandfather created the Wharton Business School. Everyone's an Olympian athlete. Everyone's made tons of money. I think he knows, hey, if this NFL thing doesn't work out, I'm good.
These insecure NFL meatheads who are scared of confidence and scared of intelligence, these copycat, insecure meatheads who demand the toughness out of others are scared by a dude's brain. They're not scared by the settlements that have to go through the courtrooms on the brains that are damaged, but this one that's fully healthy, they don't like it, that it's quite healthy. And so he says things like this, and God, I hope this kid's good.
There were 9 mistakes made ahead of me.
and I will make sure over the next decade or so that they will know that they made a mistake. I was pretty if I fell. 1, 2, and 3 went by, and just kind of went into a blur after that. I was really angry. Teams were passing on me, and I was honestly expecting to get picked at some point and have to fake a smile and go up and pretend to be happy.
I love that, man.
He's just going to give us Mayfield's going to give us personality at the position, and so is this guy. Josh Allen, probably not.
No, but it's so Aaron Rodgers like. He spent a ton of time with Rodgers headed up to the draft. They're very similar. Rodgers said he's very similar to me, and you could hear some Rodgers there. Like he's confident, man, and he's talking to two teams there. He's talking to the Jets. He's talking to the Browns.
Well, the Giants were squeezed between the Browns and the Jets, and they just had what appears to be an uproarious press conference. There is a picture floating around of the general manager of the New York Football Giants, who can tell everybody what it's like to be a New York Football Giant. There's a picture floating around of him at the press conference explaining why it is that they drafted Barkley, and he's making fun of analytics nerds. And he's making fun of people who use numbers and stats to analyze things because the Gettleman gut is better than anything that your Wharton Business School can produce.
This is my guy, man.
No, and he starts imitating like he's typing at a typewriter, a keyboard, to suggest what a dork all you analytics guys are. And Pat Shurmur, his head coach puppet, is looking at him intently as like, I can't wait for the masterpiece my leader types up here on his imaginary keyboard.
I think I heard a podcast where they said Gettleman never trades down. There's people out there questioning if he knows actually how to trade for additional draft picks because he's never actually done it. And he had this quote.
No, I love this quote. Hold on a second, okay? Hold on. Like this quote, I know what you're going to play here, and this is so Gettleman. But again, I want the accompanying picture. The joke that ends this segment is just going to be this guy's voice explaining to you how he can't be bothered on draft day. This guy who invented football, this guy who is mocking the sports and the stats nerds. This is how we're going to end the segment. Again, the picture is of him pretending to type at a typewriter to make nerd jokes about the people who are applying math and intellect and, their brains things much weaker than the Gettleman gut. And this is how Gettleman reacts to people wasting his time, man.
People call you and they want the second pick of the draft for, a bag of donuts, a hot pretzel, and a hot dog. It's like, you get away, leave me alone. I ain't got time to screw around.
Don Le Batard.
Bleep yeah! Bleep yeah!
Stugotz.
Bleep no! Bleep no!
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
So Gettleman is now, we've got a raging war going on here because now I am now alone again. Again, everybody in the Stugotz and Stugotz Army and shipping container, everyone loves Gettleman.
Yep.
And I'm sitting here.
How can you not love Gettleman? How can you not be a Gettleman just like the rest of us? We are Gettleman here.
Listen, we are Gettleman, and we want a weekly show with this guy. We do. We want a weekly show with Gettleman, not during football season, just year-round, okay?
Just talking to him about stuff. All right, let's hear this quote again, okay? Let's just hear. This is Gettleman. Gettleman was very busy yesterday, taking the most athletic person in the draft with the second overall pick, and then
his mom could have scouted him.
That's what he says. According to Gettleman, anybody could have scouted him. That's the highest praise, right? I'm guessing when it comes to Gettleman is saying that as, look, if I scout him, it's impressive because I see special things, but my mom can also scout well because she's a Gettleman.
Of course.
I want to hire Gettleman's mom.
Okay, yeah. Let's
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I mean.
Let's go ahead and play that sound again so people can hear Gettleman in all of his flamboyant arrogance.
People call you and they want the second pick of the draft for, a bag of donuts, a hot pretzel, and a hot dog. It's like, you get away, leave me alone. I ain't got time to screw around.
I just looked at Fat Chris and we both had the same thought, which is I'd have made that trade. Like as soon as I pick up, wait a minute, hot pretzel, a hot dog, a bag of donuts. Yes. Who do you want? Odell? Deal.
Oh, I want Saquon.
No, but you want Odell? Do you want Odell? Whoever's calling with a hot dog, a hot dog, a hot pretzel, and a bag of donuts, I'm running to meet in the lobby and giving them whatever they want, even and up to and including Odell Beckham.
You're sliding your entire roster.
That's right. Here you go. Would you like a wide receiver? Thank you very much.
Does he call the Maras and says, hey, I got him up to throwing in a hot dog?
A Knish. You throw in a Knish, I'll give you Eli Manning. Done. Deal. So we're getting some complaints here all over the place. Knish is a funny word. Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Knish. Is Knish a funny word?
It's also something I have no doubt Gettleman eats on a daily basis.
For sure. What else does he eat?
I don't know, but there's a 45% chance he's holding one right now.
No doubt. Yeah, it's a little mustard on it right on the corner there.
I'm
right
not
on the
with
corner.
you, guy. Yeah. I have got Gettleman being someone who will only eat carnage, like only proteins and meat.
No, I'm telling you.
Like never a vegetable, never maybe a baked potato if he's feeling frisky.
I'm telling you, a Knish, and there is no question, like a corned beef turkey sandwich on rye, he is all over that thing, man.
To him, fish is his vegetable.
I got him cooking up a home alone in his underwear, a meatloaf at 10 p.m., and that being his only meal.
I got him also as a big leftover guy. He's always bringing in lunch and Tupperware.
I don't think anything's left over.
So a lot of people are complaining about the way we're covering the draft. I'm switching to ESPN New York on the app. Humpty and Canty are at least talking about the draft. These dummies don't have to talk about the Yankees or the Mets, but at least talk about the Dolphins and the Bucks and Jacksonville. Got 3 teams in Florida, and they don't talk it. Wow. Then this guy chimes in from yesterday, old Lacey Gearhart. Why is it okay? He's complaining. He's snitching to ESPN on us. Yeah, one of these snitches. Right. Old Lacey the snitch. Why is it okay for Dan Le Batard to talk about men's testicles and Fitzgerald's butt on the air? If any man were to talk about a woman's butt or breast, they would be immediately fired. That's how he wrote it. Immediately.
Oh, that's a fine.
No, that's on him. He wrote it immediately.
Fine for him and a fine for you for blaming him.
ESPN's double standards continue. I mean, sir, what are you doing whiffing around our show? You don't understand anything that's happening around here. You complained to ESPN on Twitter, shaking a fist at me and Stugotz for talking about Larry Fitzgerald's beautiful butt, an obsession with which I will not be deterred, not by anybody.
Oh, they're allowed, but you say that about a lady.
Yes, you say a lady has testicles. I don't know. I don't know what this person is complaining. What is this person's home life like?
He's complaining because we objectified Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah. I mean,
we do and we will. And I will not apologize for it. Let me explain something to you, okay? I understand that in 2018 there are all sorts of new rules. We got a Washington team named after a racial slur. That one's okay, but nothing else is. I want to take up this cause. What are the things that you're allowed to make fun of? The bald?
Yeah, me.
The fat?
The fat.
Fat men.
Yeah.
Fat men.
Fat man, certainly. Sam Darnold.
Fat. Wait a minute. Do you really think that Sam Darnold is going to be fat? Like I know we've been making
a couple
this
of buffets
joke.
over there.
Is it the double chin?
The chin is already hanging down in a way that makes me all too
uncomfortable.
It's
never harmed Roethlisberger.
But even Roethlisberger didn't enter the league that way.
He drank his way to that. Or ate his way to that. Am I right, Guillermo? Can you put this on the poll? Does Ben Roethlisberger run like a skyscraper?
You okay? The texture's rubbing off on you.
You better correct that immediately.
Immediately. Are you guys excited for Avengers? A lot of people are talking about this.
Oh yeah, man! I can't believe that. Wow, you're opening the door for Avengers talk. I mean, it's huge. Thanos finally making his way to Earth, and Thor is the bridge between the Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy. This is so exciting.
Well, Kevin Smith called it a masterpiece, and he's a pretty good guardian of that galaxy. You know what I mean? Like Kevin Smith is. He said he saw it. He saw a screening, and he says it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, this might be the biggest movie ever. Look at this cast. It's absurd. Wow. I'm so happy Disney owns us.
Are people, are they a Disney joint? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Disney owns Marvel, which is one of the more brilliant investments ever.
They've made a few of those over the years.
This company, Disney, I think they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're onto something.
I mean, this whole thing.
Hopefully I'm the second biggest investment.
You're amazing.
What happened?
You're just generally amazing. You're working on books. You're making deals. You are the modern media mogul. Like where you haven't shaved in a week.
Shave. I mean,
yeah, you endorse Dollar Shave Club while your face looks like a carpet of gray and black that smells bad.
No time to shave, man. I'm so busy.
You have all these projects you're not finishing.
Exactly. Busy moguling.
Can you guys explain to me where this book deal stands? Listen to what happened here.
Stands with me making a lot of money.
Stugotz is
not doing a lot of work
in negotiations to print his personal record book. Nobody wanted to help him with it in the shipping container because there was another one of these cockamamie ideas that was going to produce a 99-1 split for Stugotz's favor on money that they would never earn. And so Mike picked up the project, and now there are people bidding for it.
Yep.
And where do we stand on Stugotz's personal record book, for which I imagine Mike and the audience and the shipping container is going to do all the work, and you're going to take all the money?
I quoted Mike a percentage that I won't honor, and other than that, there's 3 publishing companies who are vying for the right. I'm just waiting for the right offer. That's it. I mean, I have the whole outline is done and 1 chapter. That's what I sent.
Mike alleges that there are no outlines and no chapters.
There's an outline and a chapter on KD. I promise.
I've been told that this outline and this chapter is coming my way for 3 weeks.
I didn't send it to you.
I know.
He keeps saying keep saying that the first chapter's done. He keeps asking you for it. You've been saying you're going to bring it in for a month, and you haven't yet.
Here's what I did. Well, first off, the publishing company.
Can you read to us from the first chapter right there on your computer?
I will not do that. I will tell you that the publishing companies have asked for this. I was hoping that Mike, knowing the percentages that were discussed that are going down by the day, that Mike would take the initiative and write the outline himself. He did not do that. I will still honor the percentages that we discussed, but you got to get to work.
Why would I do it if you're telling me it's done?
I did this and I did Durant, and I don't want to do anything else. That's it.
See, this is the problem. You're asking me to do an outline. You're claiming it's finished.
It is done.
Then send it to me.
No, it's already been sent to the publishing companies.
Where are the Kentucky Fried Chickens? Where are the Kentucky Fried Chickens? Unleash the Kentucky Fried Chickens. They are undefeated, never lost.
Your lies know no bounds. You are fundamentally immoral.
All right, chickens. That's enough. You beat him down. Enough.
Sorry, this one's personal.
I know. I understand. I get it.
Nothing they said that's untrue.
Please get back in the cage. I'm now scared of the chickens. The chickens are unruly. They're aggressive. They're confident, and they're undefeated. Please get in the cage, chicken. Thanks.
I take you back to that night where the Thunder are up 3-1. It's Durant, it's Westbrook in the Western Conference Final. It's very well written. It is. And then I tell you to close your eyes and imagine Michael Jordan playing for the Pistons. Unbelievable book. Make a fortune.
5 cent, 10 cent, dollar.
I haven't written anything past that yet, though.
Don Le Batard.
Why do we still do this, honestly?
Why do we still work with him? Why do we put ourselves
halfway
in this position?
through?
Why do we work with this person?
Old.
We should stop working with him.
Yeah.
We have offers.
We need to find something. You have offers. I don't have offers.
Stugotz.
Oh, hey, Dan.
Hey, man, what's up?
Back. We were just talking about how much of a delight you are.
So we pivoted. I think we're in a good place. This
it's going to be so good this year. Get ready.
Great to see you guys so confident.
Yeah. Flying high.
Yep. This is going to be an utter disaster.
He's still here.
I've been working with him for 12 years, and I still go home upset with myself that I allow this to happen.
I am clinically depressed because of this guy.
By the way, support group at my house on Wednesday night.
Really?
Yeah.
I need it after this. I'll see you there.
I hate him.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We just saw Louis Riddick on First Take. He was wearing a T-shirt. I did not recognize him. I'm not lying. I'm not making that up. I'm not exaggerating. I was looking at him for about 10 seconds, and then I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Right. I hope he's okay.
What do you mean?
I've never seen him without a suit on. I don't know.
Okay, he was wearing a shirt. Well, has anyone else noticed? A couple of questions here. Billy, put it up on the poll. Would you recognize Louis Riddick in a T-shirt? And I know we did a version of that earlier this week, but I just got surprised by it. I saw him on television in a T-shirt, and I did not know who it was. That's weird.
Yeah.
And I had another question, but I forgot it now.
Okay.
There was a second question I wanted to put on the poll at Levitard Show.
A second Riddick question, or
thank you, Stugotz, for all your help there.
You got it.
All of the tired people on ESPN today, all of the Riddicks and Adam Schefters and everyone else, they look like the Walking Dead. Yeah. Adam Schefter, his eyelids are closed. I'm pretty sure his bottom lip is sedated. Yeah. I think I saw him drooling.
I mean, and Wingo took another day off. I mean, it's unbelievable.
And so the other question is, have you noticed that all of the people at ESPN look bleary-eyed tired from the draft?
Should be called Golic or Wingo, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it would be better that way. Golic or Wingo.
Now, I'm telling you, Max looks great. I don't know what's going on with Max.
All these people are listening to us, but also Max didn't do anything with the draft, which is why he looks fantastic.
Right, he is fresh.
That's right. Well, Stephen A. Smith has stopped stealing his soul after we accused him of it. And also, Max took a reprieve from the draft. I see that ESPN's soul was corrupted last night by the draft. Everybody around here is walking around like zombies on television, no matter how much makeup we apply. And like everybody yesterday, if you had tuned in at a certain time yesterday, you would have heard such manpower wasting time talking about a guard. Like just across the network, across the networks. ESPN has bought sports now, okay? Nobody else is allowed near sports, and this is how we're going to cover it. It's just going to be everybody at every crevice of the facility talking about the guard the Colts draft.
Great day.
I know you kid. I mean, there aren't enough words to describe Quentin Nelson.
He's good, man.
Can you help me understand something as a Browns fan, Mike? Help me understand this. Do I have this right? The Browns didn't get a consensus top 5 pick, even though they were picking 1 and 4. They didn't get, in their 1 and 4, they didn't get one of what were viewed as the consensus top 5 pick.
Yeah, I think according to ESPN's rankings, they got the number 6 and number 14 overall prospect. A lot of that, it's sort of tricky math because the Browns, everyone says they have to go quarterback, and none of the, I think the highest ranked quarterback is number 4. So you're already going to look kind of dumb when you approach it that way.
But if we agree that we're all just guessing here, right? Like, who cares? I love what the Browns did. I love the fact that they took Baker Mayfield. I don't know anything about the cornerback that they took.
Well, I just think it's weird, though. This is what I think is weird, right? You just failed on Johnny Manziel. Baker Mayfield is the number 1 pick. Looks different than any number 1 pick we've ever seen. Like, that size doesn't get drafted number 1. That size gets questioned and makes Drew Brees drop.
Yes.
Like that, so it makes me wonder, okay, are we headed toward the Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield NFL, where the next evolution is, oh wait, it was not cement-footed quarterback? Because I don't understand why Baker Mayfield is being taken number 1. That size and that playing style has never been drafted number 1 unless its name was Michael Vick.
I was watching NFL Network and they made a good point saying you only have outliers because the NFL just doesn't draft quarterbacks that are 6 feet. So you only have a handful of examples. The more they draft, you'll have more outliers.
Man, Mike Glennon got $50 million just because his neck is 6 inches longer than everybody else's. The NFL did that. That was a thing the NFL did. They measured Glennon's neck and gave him $50,000 and a franchise job.
Stugotz here for 1-800-Flowers. Being a mom is like 1,000 little jobs all wrapped into one amazing responsibility. I know this from watching my own wife, how crazy it is switching back and forth from trauma nurse to afternoon mathematician, from organizer-in-chief to 5-star chef. This Mother's Day, show her how much you appreciate every job she does with this special limited-time offer from 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, when you get ahead of the Mother's Day rush, 1-800-Flowers will give you an exclusive 36 for 36 offer, 36 sorbet roses for just $36. That's only $1 per rose. With an impressive mix of pastel shades in pink, orange, and lavender, these roses are guaranteed to make her smile. Stunning sorbet roses are the perfect way to surprise all the moms in your life. Wife, aunt, sister, mother. These breathtaking roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. 36 sorbet roses for only $36 is an amazing offer, but you need to hurry because it expires Friday. Just pick your delivery date and 1-800-Flowers will handle the rest. Don't put this off, guys. I'm telling you, order today from 1-800-Flowers.com. It's what mom would want you to do. To order 36 sorbet roses for only $36. Simple. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code Dan. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code Dan. Hurry. Offer ends on Friday.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Carl Tart.
I'm Jackie's Neal. And I'm Edgar Mopes here.
And we are the host of a new show called Culture Kings on How Stuff Works. We cover a whole range of topics on this show, but one of the things that we talk about the most is sports because we love them. Jacques, what's the sports opinion you have?
The Cubs are the best team of all time.
That's ridiculous. Edgar?
Kevin Durant is the greatest player of all time.
Nonsense. My favorite basketball player is LeBron James. He's the king of the world, and we'll get into that on Culture Kings. Download it wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere. Just listen to it, damn it.
Don Le Batard.
Yo, chicken time.
Stugotz.
Smarter guy.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. JB Bickerstaff signed a 3-year deal to become the Grizzlies head coach. That'll fix it. Jaguars and Fulham FC owner Shad Khan said that his potential purchase of Wembley Stadium doesn't mean that he's moving the Jags to London. I'm saying that he is. And finally, singer Janelle Monáe has come out as pansexual. In an interview with Rolling Stone Thursday, Monáe revealed what gender she has dated and clarified how she identifies. Being a queer black woman in America, someone who has been in relationships with both men and women, I consider myself to be a free love proponent, she told the magazine. But then later, I read about pansexuality and was like, oh, these are things that I identify with too. I'm open to learning more about who I am.
I don't know what that is. What is pansexuality? No?
You're looking at me.
Well, I'm just thinking, you're reading it. I want to know what
is.
Okay, you don't know.
I don't know who Janelle
All right,
is.
somebody help me with pansexuality. I've never heard that before.
Again, you're looking at me.
Okay, I'm looking at the group. The group.
Pansexual is not limited in sexual choice with regard to biological sex, gender, or gender identity.
Isn't that bisexual?
Pansexual is not limited in sexual choice with regard to biological sex, gender, or gender identity.
Yeah, you're limiting it by just saying bisexual.
Okay, so there are other genders? Okay, let's keep it moving. That's Jemele Hill, by the way. We're going to talk to her in a second.
I got 2 more sentences.
By the way, I think it was Webster that tweeted that pansexual is the most searched term today on their website.
So everybody's doing what I just did.
Yes.
Not Josh Allen?
It should be Josh Allen.
For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day. Jemele Hill, giving the Straight Talk, is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts.
So one of the things I wanted to talk to Jemele about is this is just shocking. The whole thing that's happened around Bill Cosby, to see it happen, no matter how many times you've been betrayed by thinking that someone isn't the real person in the commercials like Tiger Woods selling you, morality or family amid infidelity. What's happened here with Bill Cosby is bizarre for a number of reasons, not the least of which he was outed by a comedian. So Hannibal Buress, who was tired of Bill Cosby telling black people to pull their pants up, ends up he's gonna end Bill Cosby's life, and deservedly, because of all this trail of victims where a sitcom dad has become a serial rapist. And what I wanted to talk to Jemele about is, as a child who grew up with him as the sitcom father, and more than that, the representation of black America to white people on television, to see this guy jailed at 80 for what might be the rest of his life. Like, you receive that how?
Well, like a lot of people, I was just as surprised and stunned, not necessarily by the outcome of this, but just when the allegations first popped up. I'll be frank, until Hannibal Buress said something, I had no idea that this sort of reputation had been following Bill Cosby. I mean, not only was he kind of this, comedic icon and the Cosby Show for black people, to see someone like Bill Cosby and Phylicia Rashad and that show to represent black people in a much different way than had ever been represented on network television. It was amazing. It made every black person want to have a black family. It made you want to go to a historically black college between the Cosby Show and A Different World. And to know that behind the scenes and that he was terrorizing and raping and drugging women is just unconscionable. And for me, it's been not that my feelings really matter considering how so many women have been traumatized by him, but this has just been a really bad week for people that you have always carried a certain amount of respect for, only to find like, maybe I should just either sort of put them in it. Well, Bill Cosby he's just banned. Like he ain't coming to Wakanda. He's gone, right? So there's that part of it. But then there's other people where you find yourself having to make this choice between how much do I love their art and what they produce versus thinking to myself, this might not be a person that I actually like. Hello, Kanye West, right? And so as Chance the Rapper learned, sometimes y'all have to save those Don Quixote capes. Like, it ain't for everybody, right? Use them judiciously, right? Be careful. Right. Because now Chance is like walking all that back.
So is it everybody? Nas too, right?
Nas is my favorite rapper of all time. And Khalees was actually one of my favorite singers. And, you know, they had a very ugly divorce. And this week she revealed that there was some she's alleging physical and mental abuse. And I'm like, but he's my favorite rapper.
Well, that's what a lot of the comedians were dealing with Louis C.K. Like, is Bill Cosby the start of this? Is Bill Cosby the start of the Hollywood crumble toward perversions? Like, did it start with Hannibal Buress? Is this all of this stuff that's happened to Hollywood?
Well, I think it started with Cosby. It just took so many years to get a conviction on Cosby.
No, but it's not a conviction. Nobody was paying attention. Then a comedian starts making a joke, and he's just bothered because Bill Cosby, for a long time, he was dealing in respectability politics. He was telling black people how to behave, and white people were applauding him and giving him Jell-O Pop commercials.
And even black people were applauding them, you know, especially to a generation like my mother's generation and even my grandmother's generation. They looked at Bill Cosby, every time he went to different cities and would basically be coming to black communities, telling black people how to act. Black people were supporting that kind of rhetoric. I mean, they were. And so it wasn't just, you know, white people. And Bill Cosby was considered in that untouchable lane. R. Kelly used to be in that lane. There's another one, right? And
hell, man, hell, a bunch of deviants, all of us.
But then this is the other part of this too that's difficult to process, is that of course you know what, you know, Bill Cosby has done and he deserves to be criminalized. But then you look at people like Charlie Rose, is getting a new show, right? And you see the white dudes are doing it and they're not losing their freedom.
Charlie Rose is getting a new show?
Is he really?
Yeah, I heard that he was getting a new show.
I did not know that. That is something that is news to me.
That seems insane.
I would have assumed that all of these guys would be banished to the outskirts of entertainment. But in keeping with what it is that you're saying, I have been marveling at all of these old icons that are tumbling here. We were talking before you came on about the idea of the broadcast news anchor. All of them have been smeared. It doesn't exist anymore. What happened, Mike?
The rumor is Charlie Rose might get a new show where he interviews other accused harassers.
Oh man, that is such.
That's not an Onion article either.
I'm sorry.
No, that's a real article.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Was going to have Matt Lauer on the show?
No, hold on a second. Hold on. And what? Cosby's not getting a rape show, is he? Like where he talks to other rapists about how to rape? Come on, you're kidding me, right?
According to Page 6, there's a pitch making the rounds for a new #MeToo atonement series.
What?
So he's going to profit off of. It's going to be a career turn for Charlie Rose, who was hanging out in his underwear in hotel rooms around 25-year-olds who didn't want to be around him in his underwear.
It's a heady play.
I mean, it is a heady play. I can't dispute that. Charlie Rose, I salute you. You've got better agents and marketers than...
How's that pitch meeting go, though? You know what would be great? It's if I atone for me harassing.
I will be publicly disgraced interviewer.
Right. And interview other publicly disgraced people.
I love the idea of this.
They'll love it.
That's right. Charlie Rose is sitting there putting out the calls to Weinstein. I want you to be our first interview. Harvey Weinstein.
Who knows their behavior better than me?
That's right. Charlie, please.
I'm the expert here.
Wait, interview? Weinstein might be producing this.
That's right. Producing and the first interview. Right. Charlie can ask him, tell me how to pleasure yourself into a plant.
You know how in Hollywood they always say that when you make a pitch, it's, you know, you take two movies and say it's Ocean's 11 meets, I don't know, Star Wars, right? So what would be those two things that you would put together and say, hey, it'll be The Accused with Jodie Foster meets.
Yes, I know. What's the group we're going to put together?
Two things
I can't wait. Wait until OJ parlays this into How to Kill People. Asking, seriously, OJ's driving around here getting ideas.
Just saying.
Cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar. He did do that show already, and it didn't see the light of day for 15 years until Fox had a well-built-up special about it.
Ryan! I don't know how else to say this, so I'll just say it.
What is it, Linda?
I think we should see other people.
Are you breaking up with me? On a roller coaster?
Well, we do have a lot of fun. Maybe we should stay together.
An emotional roller coaster? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
I just need a little me time.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Don Le Batard.
That's ridiculous. Idiot. I know it was a terrible Barkley impersonation.
Never heard it before. It was just...
Sui nominee.
Stugotz.
Really bad.
You guys want to try all your Barkleys?
Oh, that's a terrible idea.
That's pretty good. That's better. Anyone else want to get in on the bidding?
Ernie, Dan Le Batard is an idiot. It's terrible.
Yeah. Pretty good. I don't want to go after that.
Yeah, Kitty. Let me tell you something, Kitty. That Dan Le Batard is an idiot.
Thank you, Roy.
You're welcome, Dan.
Tell your fat daddy I hate him.
Oh! Fat Chris making an appearance. Fat Chris once again a surprise.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Now, Jemele Hill is with us here. She'll be with us for the remainder of the show. She will be let into the club at the end of the show today. And one of the things, I've been meaning to talk about this for a while. Jemele, have you ever seen, we've been talking about Bill Cosby and just how different things are in 2018. Do you remember when James Brown went on CNN to do an interview after being accused of domestic abuse? Did you remember seeing that interview? It's one of the strangest interviews in the history of television, and it's an interview that simply would make everyone go crazy if it happened today. If it happened right now with this accusation amid Me Too, you don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't. Like, okay. I remember the accusations against James Brown, but I don't remember the interview.
I'm sorry to catch you off guard because it's just a crazy interview, courtesy of CNN. This is many, many years ago, but listen to this sound where I think it opens with them telling you the nature of the accusations.
It resulted, as a matter of fact, in Brown assaulting his wife with a lead pipe and firing a gun at a car that she was in. These are charges that Brown denies. He was released yesterday on $15,000 bond. He joins us from Atlanta to discuss the charges, and we welcome you, James Brown. How did all of this trouble begin?
Living in America. There's nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong at all? You're not in any difficulty, but you're out on bond.
No, I'm not.
Have all the charges been dropped?
Yeah, I'm out on love.
Well, yeah. Are you out on love or out of love? Which is it?
Out on love. Alone from night to night, you find me.
Okay, we're just getting started.
Mm-hmm. That actually happened?
Hold on. No, it gets worse. It keeps going again and again. I'm just asking you to imagine all of this in 2018.
Your fans will have read all about this, James. Aren't you concerned about that?
No. Dageshan. I'm concerned because there's nothing wrong.
And what are you going to say to your fans when they ask you some questions about it?
I'm going to say I feel good. Papa's got a brand new bag. It's a man's world.
It's a man's world. He's saying that a lot. Those accusations, he was saying it's a man's world. And I'm not sure whether I'm allowed to laugh at this, but it's amazing because you got a crazy person being interviewed on television.
Now, the women love you when you get out there. Why do you think that is?
Huh? Because I look good. Why do you think that is? You look smell good. I feel good.
And you sing good.
And make love good.
Oh. Well, there we are. We don't have to ask anybody else. We got that from the source. There you are.
What? Wait a minute. What? Wait a minute. There are two sounds in that last clip that you played that need to become a song in the next segment. Let me hear that last clip again. Yes, that's one of the sounds.
That's one of them, yes.
That's one of them, but I want to hear
the whole thing.
I want to hear the whole clip, yes.
Now, the women love you when you get out there. Why do you think that is?
Huh? Because I look good.
That is? You
I
look
smell good. I feel good.
And you sing good.
And make love good.
Oh.
That one.
Yeah.
Her.
Well, there
It
we
wasn't
are.
even
We
him.
don't have to ask anybody
Her,
else. We
because
got
that's
that
an
from the
awkward
source.
situation, right?
Perfect.
Sorry.
That and yes.
Okay, now, so.
And why have you let me listen to this, man?
Because it's crazy.
I'm about to go. I have a few James Brown CDs. Now I feel like I got to go home and burn them all.
Because of the conversation we were just having.
Jemele, no more Cosby, no more.
No.
Why are you taking away all my black heroes, Dan?
Tear them down one at a time.
Oh my God!
What
do you got, an Obama sex tape back there somewhere? Like, is that next? Anybody else you want to take down, Dan? While you're at it,
Papa's got a brand new bag. It's a man's world.
It's a man's world.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a song, though. I gotta say, it's a great song.
This is the question that I want to ask you. The idea of separating the art from the artist. Like, how do you do it with Nas? How do you do it with Bill Cosby? How do you do it in the NFL if you're, Baker Mayfield? If you're someone who just, is so uptight moral that you think Baker Mayfield is an affront to your team's morality.
You got to do it to a point. Like, everybody has a different line. And, like, okay, we were talking about R. Kelly. Like, R. Kelly... It feels so weird to say he defined my childhood. God, it feels so bizarre to say, but that was in high school. R. Kelly was the dude, right? And we all loved all of his music. And so, years you hear whispers, but you don't really know anything. And so whatever, it goes on. And so it reminded me recently of this conversation, rather. We may potentially have an awkward moment here in a second. Just warning you. So, me and my boyfriend, like we were, having an intimate moment, I should say. And, we were playing some music and the R. Kelly song came on.
Oh, no.
And it was like,
oh, no.
Mood destroyed. I was like, we gotta fast forward that.
Yeah, we gotta fast. So
like, I couldn't. No,
because now you're thinking about.
You're right.
Okay, you want me to stop there? Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, no, I'm just saying no. Like now, like once I heard, my mind's telling me no. Like once you hear that,
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Has that happened to you during an R. Kelly song? Put that on the poll because yes, that would be disturbing to get lost and have R. Kelly visual images.
It was just like, no. Gotta hit fast forward.
I had the same thing happen to me with that Gringo documentary, Mike.
What? You saw it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. There's a fascinating story on Netflix involving a guy who had a very interesting life and his an interesting life, and his sexual proclivities are jarring. Just jarring beyond R. Kelly. What realms beyond R. Kelly. Anyways,
that's saying something.
Yeah. I've never heard of such a thing. It's not in this documentary, what this tycoon enjoyed is not something I've ever heard of anyone ever enjoying before.
No, it seems pretty crappy.
Don Le Batard. It's Friday. I'm getting into the weekend. I want to get my drink on. Stugotz. We've got to open up the club. Open it. Open it. Open it. Now. What is the computer buffering? There it is.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We close out each week with the club, and the club is dressed up by thebblacktux.com. Looking great at your big event is easy with thebblacktux.com. To score $20 off your purchase. Simple. Visit thebblacktux.com/Dan.
That Liam Neeson sound was courtesy of the AP. Stugotz, you have a Dolphins stat there that you like? A Miami Dolphins stat?
Yeah, for people who don't know, Jason Witten is contemplating retirement. And if he does retire, he's going to meet with Jerry Jones today. If he does retire, there is speculation that he'll join the new Monday Night Football crew in the booth as the lead analyst. So, Will Brinson tweeted out, because now we're all saying goodbye to Jason Witten. He tweeted out, Jason Witten averaged 80 catches per year from 2004 through 2017. Adam Beasley, who works for the Herald, who covers the Dolphins, he follows up with this tweet. The Dolphins have never had a tight end catch 80 passes. They've been playing football for 53 years.
There you go. All of them, weirdly 6-yard button hooks. Every last one of them. It's amazing. It was always open, like the Cap Boso play in Tecmo Bowl. Yeah. Let's go ahead and update the polls at Le Batard Show. Catch Jemele Hill today on Highly Questionable, 4:30 Eastern. Our thanks for her hanging around the Miami proceedings all week. We can catch her up on the polls here before we open up the club.
What should the name of the show be? Golic and Wingo or Golic or Wingo?
Yeah, because they're always taking time off.
Yeah,
mostly Hal.
Yeah, 90% of the audience said Golic or Wingo. Are you scared of everything Bezos is doing?
He made $12 billion yesterday.
Yep. 76% of the audience said yes.
He also bought 2 mansions in Washington that have like thousands of toilets in them. I don't know what he's going to do there.
Living the dream.
Should Mike be saying ESPN 2 is the wrong channel? Mike did say that. 69% of the audience said yes.
Oh, nice.
Do you know how hard it is to scare Motley Crue with your drug use? That's a great question.
I mean, Ozzy Osbourne snorted a line of ants outside the bus.
65% of the audience said yes. Do you need a big arm in Buffalo? 75% of the audience said yes.
Okay, very good. That was the analysis on ESPN last night.
Who would you rather have as a quarterback, Josh Beckett or LeBron James? Kurkjian said Beckett.
Yeah, he did.
78% of the audience, LeBron James. What is
I don't know.
thinking?
Kurkjian's an idiot.
Baseball.
What an idiot.
Is Knish a funny word? We think Gettleman, the Giants GM, is eating a Knish right now. 80% of the audience said yes. Does Ben Roethlisberger run like a skyscraper?
Like a tall building. When he scrambles out of the pocket, if a tall building had legs, that's how it would scramble.
Pretty overwhelming.
Because it doesn't even make sense. It's like the top half of his body doesn't move. It's just the legs.
94% of the audience said yes. Would you recognize Louis Riddick in a T-shirt? 79% of the audience said no. Has that happened to you during an R. Kelly song? 64% of the audience said no.
Okay, so that is unique to the Jemele Hill Central experience. On that note, let's open up the club.
Jemele, that's funny.
Yeah, it is funny. It is disturbing, though. I understand. The whole thing is like you're getting. It's just. Yeah, I mean, R. Kelly. You don't want R. Kelly on your radio. You don't want your Bill Cosby on your television. You don't want.
See, if it were Bill Cosby, if like, say, somehow the channel and Bill Cosby came on, I'd probably keep going.
All right, really, very good.
Get past the Cosby show.
Right.
I'd keep going.
Right.
I wouldn't even recognize it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, what are you gonna say?
Hey. Let's go, Mike. What's the first sound in the club?
If these people actually knew as much as they said they did, they would actually have a job with an NFL team.
That is arrogant Josh Rosen. We love him. Hope that he throws for 7 million yards. What else is in the club?
I've never looked at a blue whale fart bubble.
I've never looked at a blue whale's fart bubble.
That is
Ron McGill. What else we got?
Well, he's bad. Baker Brown, baddest man in the whole damn town.
That is all of Cleveland is singing that along with Greg Cody. Or
Baker
was.
Brown. Baker Brown.
Who else in the club?
If you experience the loss of Oladipo, please call your doctor immediately.
Playoff pee sounds like a urinary infection. Who else in the club?
You heard Josh Allen 2 weeks ago before Justin Josh Allen in Vegas. The odds changed dramatically on Josh Allen because they were hearing that same buzz. And now you hear a little buzz on like somebody knows. I've known John Dorsey longer than you guys. And he ain't telling me.
Wow. That, of course, is Mel Kiper at regular speed. Who else in the club?
You would have to kill me before I'd let you win.
That's Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And where's he going? A place that he would have died 31 out of the last 32 games at the end of the game.
Could only go up, though. I mean.
I'm trying not to lose. Oh, you're dead again. Oh, the Browns killed another quarterback. Who else is in the club?
I can't wait to get you on the golf course, man. I mean, I cannot wait for this one. No, I mean, you're mentally weak. No.
That is Chris and Billy in a reenactment of the Bryant Gumbel Derek Jeter interview.
If you trade your best players in exchange for prospects, it's unlikely you're going to win more games in the immediate future.
We didn't know if it was a contention. Did you ever see that? Did you end up seeing the HBO Real Sports thing? Because I never saw it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Was it good?
I mean, Jeter completely turned me.
You're now rooting for Jeter?
He's so good looking, man.
I expect this team to, as presently configured, to compete.
It seemed like it was 7 months ago, doesn't it?
I expect this team to, as presently configured, to compete.
You threw up a freckled index finger, a pudgy freckled index to compete. Who else? Yeah. Who else in the
compete?
Who else in the club? Oh, that thing. That bit. How are you guys not? How are you airing that again?
Well.
Who else?
Sorry, I said sorry.
Oh, there you go. Mina always apologizing.
Sorry, I said sorry.
Who else?
I had to dress up as an inflatable giant poop.
That was Carson Palmer, of course.
Welcome, football fans, to the 2018 NFL Draft, Texas style.
Papa's got a brand new bag. It's a man's world.